In this video, we're going old school. Very old school, as I show you how to earn over 1.6 million credits an hour using this, the Willis Jeep. And it's surprisingly easier than you'd think. Now, the first thing we need to do is buy the car, and I will say this is only available in the Legends dealership, so if you don't already have it, keep a lookout for it because this is one you really do need to get in your garage. If you have already got it, or you want to get it soon, well, let's crack on with the video. Now, as for tuning this, we're going to do an engine swap. Now, normally I don't like doing those because honestly, a lot of the time it's a lot of money for not a lot of gain. Now with this, it couldn't be any different. You go from 77 horsepower to over 700 and it only costs you $138,000 or credits. That is an absolute bargain. Not to mention, it's always fun to watch the little animation. And as for the rest of the tuning, well, there isn't a lot of it. I do use medium tyres, whereas normally I'd use the hards, but for this we go in mediums. You will also need fully customisable ECU and the fully customisable transmission. Now, set the transmission's auto top speed to 170. As for the other bits, for the suspension and stuff, just pause the video. As for the other tuning, again, well, not much. All three stages of weight reduction, racing pads and racing discs, and a brake controller. Just adjust the front rear balance, one to the rear, and we're good to go. And talking of going, thanks to Polyphony screwing us over with the last update, we're going back to one of the old favourites, and that is the Touring Car 700 at Le Mans. And just as we start the race, there's a few things I need you to do. The first and most important one is of course hitting those like and subscribe buttons. But seriously, the first thing you need to do is add some traction control. 1, 2, 3 settings, whatever you find comfortable, but you'll definitely need it. Once this thing has the engine swap, it has a real bad tendency to want to wheel spin. Now, the other thing you need to do is set your fuel mapping, and you're going to need to set that to fuel map setting number 4. And once you've got that done, it's time to put your foot down. Now, one of the first things you'll notice is this thing is a bit of a beast in a straight line. Where it's not so much of a beast is in the corners. In fact, it handles a bit as well as an oil tanker. But I didn't actually mind that. I thought it made it a little bit more fun to drive. If you want it to be a little more responsive, then just stiffen up the suspension and the damping and it handles a lot better. But again, it's down to personal taste, see what you think. Now, as we skip ahead to the end of lap 1, you will see that if you ignore the fact I got a penalty for some blatant corner cutting, you, by about that time, should have moved into first place. And first place is pretty much where you're going to stay for the rest of the race. Unless you drive like a complete muppet, of course. Now, as we're in the lead, it's a good time to jump ahead to the end of lap 2, where, first of all, we're going to talk strategy, and that is that you should be planning on doing a 2-stop race. We're going to stop at the end of lap 2, and again at the end of lap 4. Now, what tyres you put on really is down to you, depending on the weather in your particular race. For me, and the weather radar said there was rain on the way, so bit of a no-brainer, we're putting on the wet weather tyres. Specifically, I went for intermediates this time. And at the same time you get your tyres changed, make sure you get a full tank of fuel, and then it's back out onto the racetrack. Now, you've noticed that you have dropped a couple of places, but don't worry about that because we are now on the right tyres for this race, and the AI, well, as usual, they're not, and let's face it, AI in Gran Turismo can't drive in the wet anyway, so we are very much in a winning position. And talking of tyres, intermediates are definitely your better choice here. First of all, because in my race, it didn't actually start raining until nearly halfway through lap 3. And if I had on the full wets, well, quite frankly, I'd have been knackered by now. So the intermediates were definitely better. And as this car is a little heavy on the tyres, the intermediates are definitely going to be your better choice. Now, if we jump ahead to the end of lap 3, you can see that the AI have started to make their pit stops, and that means we move into the lead quite easily. As you can see, they're not even putting on the right tyres, so we are pretty much guaranteed the win. All we have to do now is drive to the end, not make any mistakes, and maybe do just a little less showboating around the corners. Now, here we'll jump ahead to the end of lap 4 and for our second planned pit stop. Now, as before, you'll have to decide depending on your weather what tyres you put on. For me, again, bit of a no-brainer, it was still raining quite heavily, so there's going to be another set of intermediates, and don't forget to fill up with fuel again. And once we've done that, well, it's time to get back out onto the track. Now, by the time you started your 5th lap, you are pretty much guaranteed the win. Unless of course something has gone drastically wrong with your race, because you should be so far in the lead. Now, I actually did this race again afterwards, hoping that I'd get a dry race, and I did, and it's exactly the same story. This car, this engine, this track, by the time you do your second pit stop, you're going to be in the lead, and you are just going to be cruising to the end. And talking of the end, let's jump ahead there right now. And as you can see, as we come to the end of lap 6, I wasn't kidding when I said you'd be very far into the lead. In fact, by the time we reach the line on the 6th lap, don't cross it yet, but we've still got more than a minute and a half left. And so, as I always say, if you don't need to do a lap 7, don't do a lap 7. Why drive around for 5 minutes when you could just sit around and relax for 90 seconds? So, grab yourself a snack, grab yourself a beer, go to the toilet, hell, it's up to you. Just don't do 7 laps if you don't need to. Just wait for that timer to click down, and then you can cross the finish line and claim what has been yet another very easy win. In fact, it was that easy that despite us wasting 90 seconds at the end of the race, we were still nearly 3.5 minutes ahead of the nearest opposition. It doesn't get much easier than that. And of course, on top of that, we get a very nice 825,000 credits, so why not? Now, let's sum it up. Is the Willys the easiest car to drive? Well, frankly, no it's not, but it is great fun. In fact, it's so much fun, I thoroughly recommend you buy one and have a go at this race. And why not? It's an easy 825,000 credits. The other thing is, I'm extremely pleased with myself in this video. No, not because of the driving, because of the fact I managed to do the entire video without making any innuendo about Willys. And we'll stop it there before I go any further. Now, if you enjoy this video, please consider hitting those like and subscribe buttons. It really does help out the channel, and I will see you guys in the next video. For more great videos like this one, follow this link. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.